G'day guys, I hope to give you my thoughts and some tips on how to get the Platinum Trophy for Warhammer 40k Inquisition Martyr. Crap, that's a long title. Anyways, sit back and relax and listen up.
That's one mystery solved.
I'll be honest, when I first saw this, I was kind of pumped. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. But as I looked into the trophies, I kind of realised what I was getting myself into. Between 2 whole playthroughs and grinding for hours just to get good gear and luck, it's a lot. And that's really what Warhammer 40k Martyr is. It's a grind. It's a Diablo clone. But a good one at that. Character-wise, well, there's up to 5 characters. First you got your Crusader, your Psyker, and your Assassin. Those 3 are part of the base game and are necessary to retain the Platinum. Whereas the Tech Adept and the Battle Sister, well, that's all DLC, and you really don't need to worry about that unless you're going for the 100%. Personally, I would just recommend you stick to one character and get as many of the trophies as you can with that character, so that when you have to do the second playthrough, you can just rush through the story. As I was editing this video, I looked at my information and noticed you only need to do one playthrough. A second playthrough is entirely optional, though I would recommend it as there is trophies related to it and the decisions you can make on a second playthrough. These are part of the expansion. I say expansion loosely because really it doesn't add anything other than trophies. It's mostly just for the main game, but just want to let you know.
That's one mystery solved.
For your first playthrough, it's recommended that you choose the Crusader and not really focus on what skills to pick. You can respec them with tokens sold by the rogue trader who's available on the bridge. When you do have a few levels under your belt, then you can spec into any build you want, with my recommendation being with ranged combat and high crit chances. As you play the game and earn more, and eventually unlock the execution tree, then I would say go for a melee build with high crit. This maximizes your chances of getting those much needed executions. Now that we've talked about our class setup, we can briefly mention the campaign and multiplayer. The campaign is solely a single player experience with difficulty not mattering too much for the most part, letting you enjoy the game at your own pace. It's expected that the main story comes in at about 10 hours, though you expect that number to be much higher, depending on how many side missions you do for farming, better equipment, multiplayer, and the expansion missions. With the main game, and even the multiplayer, dying isn't that much of a concern, as you have unlimited deaths in campaign and can be revived during co-op missions. PvP is not required, so you can relax, knowing you don't need to get stomped on by tryhards or gather randoms for this. The game can be hard at times with what's already required. And speaking of difficulty, yes, there is a trophy asking you to beat the highest difficulty 10 times, but by the time you should go for this, you should have an excellent build to tackle the mission with very little issues. If you are stuck on what to do or what build to use, I would suggest checking Reddit for some of the awesome builds the community has already discovered.
These are proven facts.
A little bit into your playthrough, you'll unlock the ability to do Void Crusades. Luckily, there's only one trophy related to this entire mode, but this is where you'll be spending a majority of your time, grinding XP, relics, and gear, because you're going to need all this. One aspect that's really important about the Void Crusades is the fate you can earn from it. There's a trophy to get 5,000 fate points, and I found that doing the Void Crusade is the best way to get that done quickly.
Good idea.
As a Diablo-like, you can expect lots of enemies, and a lot of killing to be done. This works well for us, as there's plenty of trophies related to killing different enemies, and in different ways. By the end of my first character, I was sitting at 60,000 kills, with almost 300,000 by the time I completed the list. While playing Martyr, it's strongly recommended that you join a Cabal, the game's clan system, as soon as you can, because of the 2 trophies related to it. One asks you to join the Cabal, which is pretty straightforward, while the other one asks you to complete 10 Cabal directives, aka clan challenges, but these can be either really easy or really tedious, depending on how active the Cabal is and what the game's asks you to do. Luckily, it's a collective challenge, so no pressure on carrying the whole Cabal. I know I haven't really touched on any of the paid DLC yet, but that's because they're pretty straightforward. Let's quickly run over them. Starting with the City of Suffering, which is quite a fitting name despite only 2 trophies. That's because out of the 2 of them, Sweet Pain, again, ironic name, will drain your soul, as destroying 100 pain towers is tedious, with them spawning whenever the bloody hell they feel like it. In reality, it's every minute or so, but keep in mind that you are constantly fighting enemies in between running around, just like me as a kid when I found a huntsman spider in my school shirt. Next up we have the Prophecy expansion, and my prophecy for you is that you'll come to question why you're still playing this game at this point. Trophy wise, it's pretty straightforward stuff, with some story related trophies, easy challenges, and some new summon kill trophies. Summons, which are introduced in this DLC, are little robotic minions with their own upgrades, and as you play you'll get better and better robots and upgrades. By the time you finish this DLC and grinding out the kills, you won't even have to fire a shot, you will just have to let these two boys do their job. As far as grinding goes, nothing has been overwhelmingly bad so far, but that changes with the last DLC. The Sororitas DLC is what led me to make this guide, because what in the name of holy terror were the developers thinking? The game asks nothing really new of you, aside from reaching level 100 as a battle sister character. This is where I spent far too long, grinding and doing high difficulty missions for that high XP, but even then, that's at least another 20 more hours of game you'll be playing. You get no new content, other than the class and maybe some new weapon types, but this won't change the fact that you're paying for a character not included in the complete edition, and probably done everything prior to this. If you haven't already, I'm telling you, hold off on doing priority missions and the City of Suffering grind until you get this character, just to cut back on some hours like I wish I had done. I made it sound like the game is a Diablo 2 grind, but really it isn't. Everything will happen naturally, and with the game offering difficulty modes, letting you enjoy the experience at your own pace, I'd say it's smooth sailing for the most part. With that said, however, I hope my overview of the game's many trophies can help determine if it's worth your time to go for the 100%. I believe it is, but only when the Sororitas DLC is on sale, as the full price is not worth it. I enjoyed my time playing Martyr, despite the issues I had with it, and I'm glad that I got to spend more time in the 40k universe from a perspective other than a Space Marine. Overall, I give Warhammer 40k Inquisition Martyr the rating of 7 out of 10 for completion. Next game, I'm going to aim for something a little less stressful. I really could use a power wash, perhaps.
As you wish, Inquisitor.